Hello, my name is Patricia, and I am doing a video reaction based off of the Working Against Racial Bias module that I just finished. Um, I think the module was very informative. It had a lot about racial biases and stereotypical relationships and different ways of what is going on in the world right now as well. It also talked about culturally responsive pedagogy and what it is, and what CRP is using the culturalistic characteristics, experience, and perspectives of ethnically diverse students in order to teach them more effectively. It gave different examples of different teachers who dealt with race on different levels. And one in particular teacher that was someone that I'm sort of like was the first teacher that I watched. And she talked about how she didn't teach race to her students. They would talk about it in the classroom, but she wouldn't talk to them about it. And I feel like I'm the same way because I feel it's a hard subject to talk about, especially if you're dealing with older students. If you're dealing with younger students, I think it would be something that would be easier to talk about. But when you're dealing with older students, I believe that talking about race, gender, sexuality, it's a little more challenging to talk with. And I don't want them to be scared to talk to me, just like she had mentioned. She didn't want them to be scared to talk to her as either, but she didn't know how to approach them about it. And I would probably be the same way. I wouldn't know how to approach students on those specific subjects. And I would like to talk to students about race, gender, ethnicity, culture. I think culture would be something more simple to talk to because you have different cultures and you have a diverse classroom. And so it would be something that all students can relate to, whereas race, some students take race really hard. And so I think race would be a touchy subject. It would be challenging. I would attempt it and I would try it. Now, I don't teach in a classroom. I teach with Head Start students, so I don't know for a fact how hard it is or anything in that sort. I'm just going because I do have older children, and seeing them is what I'm going with my own perspective, but I've never been in a classroom with older students, so I won't know until I get there. But it is something that I am going to try to talk to them about because I believe that we should talk about race, we should talk about gender, we should talk about stereotypes, especially because stereotypes is big. So the information that was new to me was the race issue. I mean, it's not new, but it's a new topic to talk about with students. Also, what sociocultural conscience, I still don't really know what that is. And so what I found is it's an awareness that one's own worldview is not universal but shaped by experience and identity. So it's new information to me and I would like to know more about it. So I think I'm going to research it more and find out more about what that means. Also, implicit biases. So assumptions and stereotypes about different groups of people, it can lead to unfair judgment. And I think that's one that it kind of hits home for me because without knowing, I do implicit bias. Whereas, like, which neighborhoods are good or bad? When we bought our house, we chose which neighborhood we wanted to buy our house in, and to raise our children. And so, without thinking, I think I am guilty of that. And so that is something that I would like to change about myself. With Head Start children, I don't do it often, but when the video was talking about it, I do realize that sometimes I might make the judgment that some parents might not care about their children's education because they don't turn in the papers to us, or they don't sit down and work with their children. But maybe they're busy, maybe they have other things going on in their lives, that we don't know, we don't think about. And so that is something that I'm going to try to fix with myself, is to be more open minded and maybe talk to the parents more and find out what's going on before just assuming and jumping to a conclusion. And so that is something that I found with myself. When I get in the field, I would like to, I'm already in the field with children, but once I get into older students, I would like to keep an open mind. Before I did the video, I didn't really understand what it meant on the timeline. So on the timeline, I actually put different things. One of the things that I put on my timeline, it doesn't go with this, but I put that becoming a parent has made me become more responsible. And I believe that after I had my son, I wanted what was better for him. And then also my aunt paid for my first 2 classes of college, and I was already 21 years old when I went back to school. But if it wasn't for her, then I would have never set foot back in college. I would have tried to just take care of my son just by working. And so those 2 have helped shape me into the person that I am today. And they are personal experiences for me, not necessarily, they don't go with what the module was. And I do apologize because I didn't know based on that. I didn't really have any racial background growing up. I mean, I grew up with all colors, and it wasn't different to hang out with different colored people. We all hung out together, and it was something that we just did. I never looked at anyone differently. I thought everybody was the same, just as well. But seeing now, everybody doesn't think the same way that I do. And so, yeah. But I would like to keep an open mind from here on out and try to help my students and help my parents. Thank you.